Way to start the season. Way to start the season. I loved what I saw tonight. Loved. I'm going to get into all of it. Just do a little quick recap here. But, hey, it's an amazing way to start the season. There's no other way to put it. It was terrific. You saw something from this Knicks team that you didn't see under Tom Thibodeau, and that's the usage of other players besides the 8 guys that Tom Thibodeau trusted to play basketball. Tyler Kolek got minutes in that game. Shocking. Tyler Kolek was in the game in the fourth quarter. Tyler Kolek came into the game early on in the second quarter. Would that ever have happened under Tom Thibodeau? I don't think so. I really don't think so. So I think it's an amazing look that Mike Brown is way more willing to go to his bench early. And listen, I get it. You know, the idea that Tom Thibodeau didn't have a good enough bench, and that makes sense, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that wasn't the case. The Knicks bench is better now than it was last year, but Tyler Kolek could have been in the rotation for Tom Thibodeau. How much better realistically has he gotten over the course of the last 4 months? Not that much better. It's just that Mike Brown sees his strengths and understands, you know, in a spot where you want to play Tyler Kolek, you can't play him alongside Brunson. You can't play him alongside another couple of inept defenders. If you want to play him along other guys that can actually defend, if you want to play him in the same lineup as OG, as Bridges, it makes sense. And you saw that tonight in an amazing all-around win. In a win in which Karl-Anthony Towns was, listen, you look at the box score, 19 and 11. Anyone who watched that game, Karl-Anthony Towns did not play well whatsoever. He didn't. And the 11 rebounds is almost shocking to me, considering the fact that he should have had 20. He couldn't move. He couldn't jump off the ground. I think a lot of those rebounds might have been tips to other players, but he could not get up. And he missed a lot of 50-50 balls in that game. And I think maybe it's not the smartest idea to continue playing Karl-Anthony Towns when he's injured like this. But I digress. Great win all around. And like you look at the box score, you look at what actually happened in the game. The Knicks' 2 best players played terribly. Jalen Brunson was awful. I think he was 5 for 19 from the field. I don't exactly have the numbers in front of me, but what I can tell you is that, you know, most of his points were scored at the free throw line. I think he went 12 for 13, I believe, or something like that from the free throw line. The majority of his points were scored there. Classic Jalen Brunson ball. And it just never felt like the ball stuck to his hands. He never felt like he was trying to force the issue like he might have done last year. There is a clear difference in the type of basketball this team plays. It's a lot more unselfish. The pace was up. It was. You know, the Knicks score 119 points in this game. That's not unlike what we could have seen last year under Tom Thibodeau, but it's still impressive nonetheless when you consider the parity within all of the Knicks and what they did offensively. The 2 MVPs of this game were OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. How good was Mikal Bridges in this game? Hold on, I'm hot as hell. Got to turn the AC. No, how good was Mikal Bridges in that game? Amazing. He looked a lot more confident. He actually attacked the rim. Mikal Bridges looked aggressive in a basketball game for the Knicks. He wasn't crazy inefficient from downtown. You know, he looked confident and, you know, he made the right reads. One thing I noticed about Mikal Bridges, the rest of the Knicks as a whole, they were very aggressive off ball. Like, they were taking a lot of chances. You know, let's say the ball went to the strong side. Someone would come over from the weak side to try to intercept the ball or try to cut it off. And if you're going to make attempts like that, you know, and if you're going to, you know, gamble like that, it's got to work out. And today it worked out. In the future, if that becomes a problem, I'll be singing a different tune. But tonight, when those guys, specifically Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, came off the ball and had those gambles to try to steal it, it worked out the majority of the time. You know, a few times where Jared Allen lost the ball, and the Cavaliers, a team that doesn't really turn the ball over a lot. You know, last year they were bottom 3 in turnovers per game. They turned over the ball 15 times in that game. And yeah, there were some unforced errors from the Cavs, a few terrible passes here and there. But the Knicks forced the issue. They played great defense. One thing that I noticed earlier on in that game, Mikal Bridges and the rest of the Knicks stuck to Donovan Mitchell very well early on in that game, in the first half. It didn't even seem like Donovan Mitchell was playing in that game until the third quarter. When, for whatever reason, they deviated from what they were doing best, which is keep a guy on him the entire time, stick to him like glue. And we didn't see that in the second half. Donovan Mitchell went off, and then they came back to it, you know, later on in the third quarter, the fourth. I mean, listen, Donovan Mitchell is an otherworldly talent. He's one of the top scorers in the NBA, uh, pure scorers in the NBA. Considering his size, undersized guard, he's 6'3", plays like he's 6'7", 6'6". And like like in this game, you really had two options. The Cavs. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Knicks got this win because the Cavs didn't have the majority of their best players, but they two offensive options. Two guys who can create their own offense. Merrill, complementary piece. Wade, complementary piece. Was Kenny Atkinson ever trusting the ball in their hands and letting them work? No. It's not like the Knicks have more like OG Anunoby. You could consider him a playmaker, a shot creator on his own. He's developed that ability over the last 2 years with the Knicks. Mikal Bridges kind of with this post fade, but Brunson and Cat are the two guys. And I would even say Cat. I mean, it's very difficult for him to create his own shot. So I'd say three guys. Cat is not a part of that. And again, Cat was injured, did not play well at all tonight. I don't know what anyone else saw. You can let me know. But I just from what I witnessed from Karl-Anthony Towns, he's nowhere near 100%. Nowhere near it. And at some point, you just got to be like, all right, well, we're going to sit him for a couple of weeks. I understand the need to play him in a game like this in the first game of the season. But you were in the Eastern Conference, and you play a lot of Eastern Conference teams to open the season. So how about you sit him and you don't play him as much? I just don't want Karl-Anthony Towns, like this quad injury, to linger late on to the season. Because that's going to be a disaster. Like tonight, again, I'm beating a dead horse. He did not look good. Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm not trying to sit here and focus on all the negatives. I've been talking about the positives, and it's a post game, so it's kind of all over the place. My apologies with that. Karl-Anthony Towns did not play a good game of basketball. Did not. And the Knicks, it always felt like they were in control. It never felt like they weren't in control in this game. And their two best players played terribly, straight up. At times you couldn't even tell the Cat was on the floor. Jalen Brunson, you could tell he's on the floor because he could be a ball hog. But considering how bad both those guys played, like you got everything you needed out of that bench and more. Ariel Hukporti looked very comfortable at the start of the game. Very good defending the pick and roll. He recovers extremely well. Better than Karl-Anthony Towns could ever dream of doing. And he plays a lot bigger than he is. He's got the length. And again, he's very reactionary as a defender. Very active with the hands and the feet. He moves well in defensive end. I think that's what the Knicks see, and that's what they really like about Ariel Hukporti, the defensive side. And on offense, like, he gets the ball. I do understand this is an extreme, but Mitch Robinson catches the ball anywhere on the court on offense, and, like, there's a 50% chance that he's going to lose the ball or throw it away. Ariel Hukporti, you never felt like he was in danger of losing the ball or throwing it away. He looked very comfortable on the offensive end, not just the defensive end, but the offensive end as well. That's something that I liked early on in that game. And again, I said it before. Mike Brown went 11 deep in this game. And those 11 guys played in the first half. Like, you even had this MPC, a guy whose name I had never even heard of before this game. Wait, hold on. It's, this is going to take a while. Trey Jemison played 8 minutes in this game. Like, come on. Really? Knicks barely got any production out of their offseason acquisitions. Gershon Yabusele didn't even score a point. Had 1 rebound. Clarkson, 4 points. That's 5 points. That's 4 points combined from the new Knicks. And I don't really consider Landry Shamet a part of that. He'd scored 9 points. He was good in this game. Landry Shamet, man. I mean, I always thought it was a no-brainer for the Knicks to bring him back, but I think he just proved his worth. Reaffirmed why people believed that he should have come back as a Knick. And the Knicks made the right decision. They brought him back. Mike Brown went to him early. He trusted him to be a part of that defensive lineup at the end of the game. So clearly Mike Brown values Landry Shamet a lot. One of the last guys to make the roster. And he's playing big minutes for the Knicks already. So I'm looking at this box score right now. With all the players on this box score, it's like, what the hell am I seeing? This is a revelation. We are not used to seeing this level of usage from the bench. We're not. Dude, OG Anunoby. And here's what I'm talking about with Cat and his 11 rebounds. OG had 14. I'd say 6 or 7 of those rebounds that OG got should have been Karl-Anthony Towns rebounds. He couldn't move. Literally could not move. Could not jump off. Like, even in his threes, you saw it. He wasn't jumping. And maybe that's a change that he's made. Because it allows him to be set more. And at this point in his career, he knows what works and doesn't work. And we kind of saw it a lot during the playoffs last year where, gets set, shoots, doesn't jump. Tonight felt different. Tonight felt like maybe he was just hurt. That's why he wasn't doing it. But, maybe that's a new part of his game that he's trying to fix. He did not look good tonight. He didn't. I'm trying to hammer this point home. Him and Brunson were just not good in this game. Brunson only plays 34 minutes. Cat plays 31. The reason why Cat plays only 31 minutes is because it's death tax at this point. Cat picks up his second foul like 4 or 5 minutes into the game. Like, at what point is Cat going to learn you can't commit stupid fouls? This team really needs you. They rely on you. You're the number 2 on this team. And that foul that he made in the fourth quarter on Jared Allen, holding on to his arm, like, dude, what are you doing? Like, that kind of stuff is like a mistake you make on the high school level, and that has to be corrected at that point. The fact that you are in your, 29, 30, in the prime of your NBA career, and you're still committing stupid fouls like that, you need to take a hard, long look in the mirror and realize that this is just not winning basketball. Not saying that Karl-Anthony Towns is not a winning player, but these plays, these fouls make no sense, and he needs to patch them up. He needs to fix them at some point. And the Knicks, like they did last year in the playoffs, are going to get screwed by that. Huck Porty was good. Bridges, amazing in that game. OG, OG might be the second best player on this team. This isn't like recency bias because of how poorly Cat played. Offensively, Cat is a top 15 talent in the NBA. There's a reasonable argument to be made that OG Anunoby is a top 50 offensive talent and a top 5 defensive talent. I think that just by default makes him better. But it's not. I'm not going to sit here and debate who's better and whatever. But it's good to be back. It was a relatively stress-free night of Knicks basketball. It was. There were times when it got a little chippy. It got close. Donovan Mitchell played out of his mind. I mean, he's always capable of that. But it was never a point in this game where you were concerned that the Knicks were going to lose. Like, the Knicks were up big. The Cavs never went up more than, I felt like, 2 or 3 points in that game. Besides earlier on in the first quarter, the Knicks were under control. They were steady. Never felt like the offense was stagnant. It never felt like the ball was getting stuck in the hands of Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, or whomever. It always felt free-flowing. At no point in that game was I concerned about stagnation on the offensive end at all. That's my biggest takeaway from this game. Is how well the offense moved. How free-flowing it was. How desperately we've been looking for that, and we've needed that. We've been yearning for that as Knicks fans. And I'm not like it's one game in, but I like what I saw from this team. And a lot of my beliefs last year, right before Tom Thibodeau got fired, in the immediate aftermath of Tom Thibodeau getting fired, his beliefs were reaffirmed, guys. They were. This team looked more cohesive on the offensive end. Defensively, was there any drop-off from what we've seen with Tom Thibodeau as their head coach? I don't think so. I really don't. And if the defense stays like this, and the calling card of Tom Thibodeau and the defense behind Tom Thibodeau staying was like, he gets the most out of his players. He took them to an Eastern Conference Finals. Defensively, they play better under him. If the defense continues to play like this, again, they played really well tonight without, their best defensive big man. And Josh Hart, who's a pretty solid defender. I don't think he's amazing. But I think that's going to justify a lot of people's opinions for why they wanted Tom Thibodeau fired. And I'm not getting ahead of myself. It's still October 22nd. It's still technically opening night. But they looked good tonight, guys. They looked good. Last year, they got blown out. They got ran out of TD Garden last year Tonight, I get it. It was at the Garden. This team has had more time to gel. Cat was there for the full offseason and training camp. Knicks weren't as healthy as they were last year. They weren't. They were not. And they looked a lot better. And you could make you could be like, oh, the Cavs didn't have Garland, they didn't have Hunter, and yeah, those are two uh imperative pieces to that team. Understood. Knicks didn't have their X factor. Like talent wise, of course, like the Cavs' talent out of this game was miles ahead of the Knicks. But in terms of the value to this matchup, this specific matchup, the Knicks had bigger injuries because as we've seen in the past, Mitchell Robinson is dominant against the Cavs. Jared Allen disappears against the Knicks. I don't know what it is. Like they wired him up, they do the ESPN wired or whatever. And before the game, he made the joke. I think it was, because if you've seen the graphic, the Twitter meme of like from that series against the Cavs in 2023, and like the lights are too bright, and he made either made a joke about that or the lights were actually too bright again for him again because he did not do anything in this game. He had 4 rebounds and 4 points in 28 minutes from a center. Like the Cavs got absolutely killed on the glass, and Mitchell Robinson didn't even play in this game. Like the Knicks had 9 offensive rebounds. They would have had 15 if Mitchell Robinson played in this game. That's not hyperbole. They out-rebounded the Cavs by 16, 48-32. Cavs also shot 12 for 18 from the free throw line. 67%. The Knicks shot 86. Should the Knicks have won that game without their 2 best players playing well? Probably not. But they won it because they did everything they needed to. Night in, night out, getting carried by your stars might not be enough. You need to play solid all-around team basketball in order to be successful over an 82-game season. And what we saw a lot last year was the over-reliance on the stars, on Brunson, on Cat. We saw that tonight. Both of the guys just didn't play well. But the other guys picked it up. They picked up the slack. And you didn't see crazy minutes from any of these guys besides OG Anunoby. He plays 37 minutes. The next closest is Brunson at 34, Bridges at 33. And again, Cat played 31. Hakordi starts, plays 18 minutes. There were times they wanted to go small when they put Mobley at the 5. Sometimes OG Anunoby was at the 5. So, I mean, all of this is matchup based. And, I think the Cavs are one of the most unique teams in the NBA with the types of lineups they put out and with their size in the front court and their lack of size in the backcourt. So it's a unique matchup. I'm not going to say it's not indicative of what we're going to see going forward, but I don't think it's a great barometer for what we're going to see from the Knicks going forward. Someone who played well in this game, to no one's surprise, someone who took a lot of shots, which I'd love to see, was Deuce McBride. And it's very clear, like with Deuce McBride playing 26 minutes in this game, like against a team that's not the Cavs, he's starting. With Mitch out, Deuce is going to be the starter. Cal will be the 5, OG at the 4. That's how it's going to be. Like, I think like that proved to be like there were some things to take away from this game that we're going to see going forward, and that's one of them. That Deuce McBride plays, the 5th most minutes in this game, finishes the game for the Knicks, plays in the biggest moments of the game. That says a lot about what Mike Brown thinks of him and how much he trusts him. I just think it's insane that Tyler Kolek plays 14 minutes in the opening game of the season against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Knicks' number 1 foe in the Eastern Conference. I can't get over that. When he came in, I'm like squinting my eyes. Is that Tyler Kolek? Is he in with 3 minutes into the second quarter? Just not what we're used to. And this is all experimentation. It's the first game of the season. Mike Brown's trying different things out. He's testing different lineups. The rotations are fluid. And this is what we all wanted when it came to Tom Thibodeau. No one thought Tom Thibodeau didn't know the game of basketball. But the belief and the understanding was Tom Thibodeau is one of the most rigid people in in the world, not just in basketball, in the world. Mike Brown seems a lot less rigid, and I think that's a bit of an understatement. All right, this is gonna do it. I just wanted to get a little, my thoughts in quick post game, longer pregame. Uh, as the weeks go on in this season, I'll probably do one or two of these games a week where I'll do a pregame and then a post game after, uh, depending on the opponent and depending on the night. But stay tuned for that. I'm happy. The Knicks got their win. This wasn't a sweat. They had control of the game from start to finish. Albeit, they obviously allowed Donovan Mitchell to kill them in the third quarter. But it's the third quarter of doom. You cut the Knicks some slack tonight. But that's it. I'm happy. I'm pleased with what I saw, and I'm very encouraged with how they played under Mike Brown. So let's hope that they continue to improve and Mike Brown continues to use the bench like that because I love it. I love it. Guys aren't playing well. You just pull them. They're not good enough. You pull them. Try it out. It couldn't hurt. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you watch my pregame, thanks for that as well. And again, stay tuned. Plenty more content coming your way. Glad to start the season 1-0, baby. Let's go Knicks.